welcome to MTOK News, bringing you information of the Christian world. I'm your national news anchor, Dustin Pfeiffer, and for our first story today, the Newport School Board, located in Virginia, voted on a proposal that would allow transgender students to use the restroom of their choice. The proposal, with a 5-1 vote, went against this new proposal. The school board chairman noted that such a proposal would infringe on the rights of the parents, also going as far as saying that a law that violates the Constitution is a bad law. What would have taken place is that the students and staff would have to use the preferred pronoun of that student, or must use gender-neutral terms such as they, their, or them, or, I do apologize, I did not see the phonetic spelling of these words, zir, here, and hears. I do apologize. The new model policy, which was passed by the state of Virginia, refers to gender as a spectrum, and that most children declare by the age of 5 or 6 what their gender is. Mr. Brown, who sits on the school board, as well as who is a Christian, said that to approve this would interfere with a parent's ability to teach their kids, as well as saying that it enforces a set of beliefs on everyone and it infringes on the rights of everyone. He was believing that you should not infringe on the rights. If you're going to set that if you cannot push the views of a Christian person onto everyone, then so you shall not do something like this that infringes on the rights of people who do not agree with this policy. Next up, earlier this week, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled in favor of Texas Senate Bill 8, which bans the dilation and evacuation abortion procedure. This is the most common procedure in the second trimester of pregnancy. The D&E abortion procedure, which critics have referred to as a dismemberment procedure, will now carry a felony charge to those who perform the procedure in Texas, which carries a minimum of 180 days to 2 years in prison. Out of the 15 judges, 3 voted against SB 8, with this in their dissent: that this form of abortion is the safest procedure of any second-term abortion procedures, and that it forces abortion providers to avoid late-term abortions rather than to receive a felony and imprisonment. However, there is an emergency clause which gives permission for a suction dismemberment of the body of the unborn baby by sucking the pieces in a collection container. But again, this is only done in the case of a medical emergency. Going along with this, the National Abortion Federation has stated that it will halt funding on any clinics that violate the state of Texas's heartbeat bill, which takes effect next month. However, there is a hearing that will take place 2 days before the law takes effect in an attempt to halt the passing of this bill. Not passing of the bill, I do apologize. The bill has already been passed, but to halt the bill from taking effect. Again, I do apologize for that. This lines up with, they lined this up perfectly with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on the constitutionality of the 15-week abortion ban in Mississippi. In just the first 4 months, over 500 pro-life bills have been introduced in state legislatures across the U.S. An abortion advocacy group found that by the middle of 2021, 90 pro-life laws have been passed. Now, thank you for listening in on our national news. We're going to go over to John with our international news segments.
All right. Well, thank you, Dustin, for those reports. We will definitely be sure to follow those up with prayer. We will definitely be sure to keep you guys updated as to what is going on. And now let's go ahead and head into your international reports for the week. So the first one comes from several countries. We have a very big archaeology thing, mainly focused on Israel. Actually, I think it was all from Israel. Let's get right into this. So several exciting finds have been discovered that may be of interest to our viewers. Longtime viewers know the importance we place on the historical evidence for the Bible. So, we're going to cover several of these finds here. First, there was a gold coin from the Byzantine Empire. This coin was minted in the 7th century and displays what the crucifixion of Jesus would have looked like. It was found amongst several other artifacts from the time period, showing the community that would have lived there. It was minted in about 688, 689, somewhere around there. So it's an interesting find. It does show us what crucifixion would have looked like. You know, obviously the Byzantines would have known better than we do. All right. Next is a section of the wall from Jerusalem from before the Babylonian conquest. So around ancient Jerusalem, there was a wall built to protect the Jewish people from their many enemies. When Babylon attacked in 586 BC, they destroyed much of the wall, but not all of it. This is when they conquered Jerusalem and set fire to the first temple. We covered that also in a separate video. Anyway, this finding continues to show the validity of the scriptures because the wall has been dated to the correct time period and shown to be the original wall that would have been built around Jerusalem. And lastly, for this report, some pot shards bearing the name Jerubbaal were discovered. For those of you who don't know, this was another name for the judge Gideon in ancient Israel. He was a judge in Israel before they had a king. These fragments are dated to the correct time and therefore could easily have belonged to Gideon himself or been made in memory or honor of him. So, interesting stuff to hear about. Always encouraging. I know I normally bring sad and depressing reports, so it's always encouraging to have a good report to talk about. And now we'll go into a sad and depressing report. So in China, the Chinese officials have resorted to bribery. Anyone who reports religious activity that has not been registered with the state will receive a payment as a reward. I believe they said it was equivalent to about $150 for a tip. This is designed to once again give the Chinese government control and authority over the church that they do not have. Specifically, though not outright stated, this will be used to target house churches, as we have seen already. We here at Many Tribes, One Kingdom have several things to say about this. We strongly encourage people to ignore this bribe. There is absolutely no reason to report Christians just for practicing their faith. Now, I'm sure that most people in China will not be able to see this video. But if you are someone who has been faced with an opportunity to turn someone in for money because they're practicing their religion, because they're worshiping Jesus, we here at Many Tribes, One Kingdom encourage you to not do so. We want you to pray for the souls of those who either implemented this practice, as well as for those who have profited off of turning in their neighbors. Further news from China, Chao Wei, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, brother, a Christian a member of a Christian house church who homeschools his children, was arrested last month and has finally been allowed to meet with his lawyer. He has been arrested several times already under the charges of religious deception, and to make the last one stick, the Chinese government has labeled him as a terrorist. This is so they can keep him for longer and so they can deny him the rights to speak with his lawyers and things like that. We are being encouraged by those who know him to please continue to pray for him. And as always, we urge you to please pray for all the Christians in these situations, brothers and sisters. We ask you to pray for the persecuted as well as the persecutors, those who find ways to harm our brothers and sisters in Christ. And that'll do it for your international report. And so let's head on over back to the studio for your hot topic of the week.
Hey guys, thank you for sticking with us through our MTOK news segments for our national news and international news. Now we go over to, honestly, my most fun part of the MTOK news is our hot topic. And this one has been in the news for, I guess, for the past week or week and a half now.
About a week.
About a week. And it's sad news, of course. It's about the Taliban taking over of Afghanistan. So initially the order came down that the United States is going to pull out of Afghanistan. So most of us, for me at least, I was thinking, okay, so it's going to be like a slow pull out. You know, they're going to pull out like maybe 20,000 troopers now, then 20,000 next week, and they're pulling out the equipment. They decided to pull out all 100,000 personnel, at least is what the numbers I saw, 100,000 personnel out of Afghanistan, leaving behind a good portion of military-grade equipment and vehicles behind. 900 weapons, 30 tactical vehicles, and 20 trucks. But as the United States was pulling out, Taliban was slowly taking over the region. And, the United States evacuated 600 people in one cargo plane at the last effort to leave. And so, a lot of people lost their lives in this, and this was just a waste. And I will say this was a very poor decision on the administration. But I'm looking at it from hindsight, and I don't know whether what the actual decision making was as far as the administration. So I can't condemn them entirely. Anyways, I digress. John, he's going to bring us more information on the Christian aspect of this.
Yes. So the Taliban are a jihadist group and are notorious for their persecution of Christians, much like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And already many Christians are fearing for their lives. I don't know how many attacks there have been yet. I don't have those numbers right in front of me right now. But I do know many Christians have received threats, especially if they were former Muslims who converted to Christianity. They've been given threats. They've been given, they've all, listen. Christians already had a hard time in Afghanistan. If you go back to our very first MTOK news stories, you'll notice that the Afghanistan was on the top 10 list for most persecuted countries towards Christians. I don't remember exactly where it was. I think it was number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But already it's going to be worse because, the Taliban do not like Christians. They've made that clear. One Christian in particular, for instance, received a letter from the Taliban saying, "We know exactly who you are. We know where you are. We know what you're doing." Basically, it was a veiled threat of, we can come after you anytime we want. And many have been fearing because the Taliban, I believe, some using the Bible apps to track who's been reading Bibles and stuff. And then moving a little bit away from the direct thing about this, and Dustin, I want to hear your opinion about this. So what do you see coming from all this? What do you think with the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan and with the weakening of, not weakening, but with the with the way that Christians are treated by the Taliban in this country, what do you think is going to come from this?
Well, from what I see is that the Taliban are not just going to stay in Afghanistan. Obviously, it's going to cause unrest in the rest of the region. And since they have this amount of equipment, they're going to be able to fortify their borders or attack other countries. And the Christian populations in those countries you're going to see a mass exodus of Christians out of that region, probably into Israel to evacuate to other European countries. And this is just speculation. This is not an affirmative, anything that's been confirmed or anything. And, seeing a mass exodus of Christians out of the country or a massive wave of Christians being killed in the region. And it's unfortunate to see that. And I hope they persevere and they make Christ-like choices in the coming months, especially with what's going on now. But the Taliban movement is not going to end, and considering you already have other terrorist organizations in control of countries in that area, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to take over the entire region, or current powers in the United Nations are going to, be asked to send troops in to settle the area. And because the United States just pulled troops out, I guarantee the United States is probably not going to put any back in. Because it would be the greatest blunder for the United States. Although it'll be a great moment, but anyways, with the other two powers being Russia and China being asked to send new forces. Again, this is speculation. Hopefully, right decisions are going to be made, and hopefully a peaceful solution is made. If not, then safeguarding the lives of civilians is paramount in that area, and the aggressors need to be pushed out, or they need to be forcibly removed from power.
Yes, and sorry, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, and the Taliban leaders have made it clear that Afghanistan is just the beginning for them. They won't stop with just Afghanistan. They've already said they're going to spread until they have the entire world under their control. Until everything is theirs, they've promised endless jihad. And for any of you who don't know, that is a Muslim term it essentially means like what they would call a holy war. Mm-hmm. It's a war against faith. It's a war against Christians, Jews, anyone who's not Muslim. It involves a lot of violence. It was handed down by Muhammad in the Quran. So don't type that we're Islamophobic, because we're not. This is just how things are. And
Yeah, the Taliban have promised that this will not stop.
Yeah. And for Christians who are watching this, and if you're not a Christian, you're agnostic or atheist, regardless, what I'm going to ask you to do not get angry in this situation.
No.
Because if you get angry, it's just going to create problems for you. It's just going to create something for you. It's not going to really solve the issue or resolve the issue. If you really want to see a change in that region, I mean, there's plenty of more constructive ways. Welcoming in the immigrants from Afghanistan who have fled the country. Writing a letter to your congressperson asking why the pullout happened. Or, getting, because when you have more information about the situation, you're able to make more clear and more precise decisions rather than just making erratic decisions on information you don't know. So try to learn as much as you can about the situation first. And most importantly, as we always would tell you to do on MTOK News, pray. That is the most effective weapon that you have, is to pray. Pray over the situation. Pray for the people who are fleeing the country. Pray for people who are still in the country, who can't leave. Pray for the surrounding countries. Pray for everybody who's going to be involved in decision-making about that country. Just pray, pray.
And pray for those who are in the wrong. I can say this. I've seen some people, just get so negative and stuff. Listen, draw attention to it, of course, and call out those who have made mistakes. If you believe the administration made a mistake, call them out. But continue to pray for them. If you are against the Taliban, call them out, but continue to pray for them.
Exactly. So that will conclude our hot topic for today. Please stay tuned for our media report. Thank you for sticking with us through all of our news segments. Now we're going to go over to our media report for this week. And for our top 10 songs, we have Thank You, Lord, featuring Thomas Rhett and Florida Georgia Line by Chris Tomlin, released July 31st, 2020. As your number 10. At number 9, we have You Say by Lauren Daigle, released July 13th, 2018. At number 8, we have Look at What You Done by Tasha Layton, released April 16th, 2021. At number 7, we have Hold On To Me by Lauren Daigle, released February 26th, 2021. At number 6, we have Gyra, featuring Chandler Moore and Naomi Rain, by Elevation Worship and Maverick City Music, released March 26th, 2021. At number 5, we have Rattle, the live edition, by Elevation Worship, released on April 24th, 2020. At number 4, we have Be Alright by Evan Kraft, Danny Goki, and Redemy 2, released September 11th, 2020. At number 3, we have Might Get Loud, featuring Chris Brown, Brandon Lake, and Tiffany Hudson, by Elevation Worship, released today, August 21st, 2021. At number 2, we have My Jesus by Ann Wilson, released April 16th, 2021. At number 1, we have Scars in Heaven by Casting Crowns, release date June 4th, 2021. This concludes your media report for this week. Please stay tuned for your organization of the week.
All right, and now I will take us to our organization of the week. So this week's organization is, drum roll please, Pro-Life Action Ministries. As all of you know, God has called me to speak up for the rights of unborn children. They are, without a doubt, the most oppressed demographic in our society to date. Their lives are taken legally, and many have attempted to have the murders funded by the state and taxpayers. As such, an organization that will openly stand against such discrimination and oppression is exactly what I, as a Christian, want to hear about. Since 1981, Pro-Life Action Ministries have saved several thousand lives of unborn human beings who would have otherwise been legally murdered. They stand outside abortion clinics, offering love and understanding and praying with mothers who are struggling. They approach it from love, wanting the mothers to love the young child growing inside of them. We think this is amazing. We love this idea. We love this group. Please consider making a donation to them or volunteering today. As always, if you have an organization you would like to see featured on MTOK News, just leave us a comment down below. We will take it into consideration. We will look it up. If you can send us any extra information along with its name, that would be even better. And this will bring this segment of MTOK News to a close. We want to thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Thank you guys so much for watching it with us. and spending a little bit of time with us. As always, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Have a great day, and God bless you.